All right. All right. All right. All right, all right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening live and local to Philly Funk Radio. We are broadcasting live on both Facebook and YouTube. And guess where I am? Look at the background. Guess where I am? Can you guess where I am? Look at this. Guess where I am live right now? I am not here. This is New York City. I am not in New York. I am actually in the studio practicing social distancing like I'm supposed to. But look at New York. Anyway, we have on the phone Mr. Van Stone. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Your connection sounds horrible, by the way.
Oh, it does? How about now?
Hold on. Talk now?
How do I sound now?
It sounds horrible.
Horrible?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
How about now?
This is going to have to be good enough, I guess, right?
Well, you want me to recall
Oh,
them?
yeah. You might as well just call back.
All right.
All right. Anyway, we're trying to get Mr. Van Stone on the line. Obviously, this is live, and we do have technical issues, but this is New York City in the background. Look how empty it is. This is actually a live video of New York from Times Square. Now, you know how it's usually full? Like you can't walk, you can't get around, you can't do anything. But look at it right now. I'm actually going to give you just a shot of just Times Square just to show you how empty it is. So bear with me for 1 second. And look at this shot. Look at this right now. Look just how empty Times Square is. Usually when I go down there, you can't walk. Like you literally just keep running into people, but it's almost empty down there. Looking, you got the police officers down there guarding the area, making sure nobody goes down there. I mean, wow, that is just amazing. So, anyway, Van, are you on the line?
I'm here. How I sound now?
Okay, let me see something. Let me see if I could turn you down any, because for some
It's the
reason,
music. The music.
huh?
The background music is coming in loud.
What background music?
I hear your music.
There is no music.
I'm hearing it on this side.
Okay, hold on. There we go. That should end. That should end that. Okay, I'm not supposed to have any background music on. I think I know what happened. For some reason, there's music running in the background, and it's not. So I just cut it off. So that should be. You don't hear anything, right?
I still hear it.
Give it a minute to cut off.
Okay.
That's kind of yeah, because I know there's no music playing right now. Oh,
Okay.
you know what? You know what? I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. There you go.
Okay.
Now it's off, right?
Yep. How do I sound?
You sound okay. We're just gonna have to take it for what it is. Anyway, are you checking out this live video of New York right now at Times Square? Can you see that?
Well, I was, but I switched over. I can switch back.
No. What I was showing the people out there that are looking at it right now is how empty it is out there in Times Square. Like usually it's full, you can't walk, you're running into people, but it's practically empty now because of everything that's going on. Anyway, since you're on, would you like to give us an update of what's going on?
Sure. I do see the background. Looks really nice. So, of course, this is a short segment, and welcome listeners to the Jerry Wilson Show. I'm actually co-hosting and inviting you to his show, which is really amazing. And I just want to commend him on his show. This is one of the most fantastic shows, I think, on the web, online, on YouTube, and anywhere else that you can get it. So, the news and the highlights and the activities that's been going on is just really powerful. And we have a lot of black media out there, but to really make it known what's happening close to home, Philadelphia, California, Washington, New York. And I mean, we're just getting listeners from everywhere because of the Jerry Wilson Show. And of course, Philly Funk Radio. So that's the update that I have, at least about that people really should stay tuned and try to catch the show. Now, meanwhile, I was working on something myself. I was working on this fantastic poster, which is in support of our nurses. And we have launched a campaign, as most people know, to actually slow down or reduce the spread of the virus, the coronavirus. So that's our campaign with the VSP Foundation, and also we are doing it with Soul City Mentoring. That they have a charity as well. So we've come together to try to take our mugs, our faces. We're not the most attractive people. Myself, Steve Stone, and Hard Rock Skip Hamilton, but we're just going to give you what we got and who we are. And so we are doing different things on our own, and we are asking for donations as well. Although so far we haven't really received any backing just yet, but we're still going to do it nevertheless. So we are getting our mask, and we're showing how important it is to get your mask and wear your mask. There are different type of masks as well. So we know the nursing mask is the best kind, but we're just reminding listeners, you can go to your local dollar store, whatever it's called in your state or your city, and you can find different type of masks. You know, I invented my own or created the Van Stone mask. It's like fashion. You can put it over your head, and it sits around your neck, and you can walk around all day. I haven't put that picture up yet, but it's going to look really silly, but it's very comfortable, for those who have a problem with the mask. Now, we need to talk about just for a few minutes, since we have 10 minutes. I hope you don't mind, Jerry, but I think I should, in all fairness, point these things out. The nurse mask is a little difficult and uncomfortable for people like myself who wear eyeglasses. So we have to really commend the nurses, because a lot of the things that they put on, the gear, I mean, there's so much just for them to be safe. Definitely is uncomfortable. And most of the equipment is actually hot as well. So that's why you have the air conditioner on in the hospitals, just so you want to know, why is it always so cold in the hospital? And of course, the air conditioner in the hospital actually helps to reduce the spread of germs or viruses. So we know that there's a lot of people who are afraid. If you feel sick for whatever reason, that doesn't have anything to do with the virus, please follow the protocol and go to the emergency, go into the hospital. The arrangements are in the hospital, they have a separation. Just like if you have office workers. So you have cubicles and there's separations in this room and that room. So it's not like people are trying to make it sound like the most frightening thing. If you go into the hospital, then you're going to get the virus. So what's happening, sad to say, there are a lot of people who are making themselves sick to the point that it's just unnecessary, where the solution is in the hospital. The hospital can help you, and they're not going to the hospital because they think that they'll get sicker, where you can really, cause something really terrible and then cause more problems for someone to take care of you when you end up going back home, because they don't have the beds. So there's an expression in the medical field and also in the law enforcement field when it comes to health. If you can walk just a little bit, or basically if you can crawl, you are considered the walking wounded. So you may not have a bullet hole to be the walking wounded. A lot of people, they put this fantasy in their mind because they watch and listen to people who give out the wrong information. And this is again, Jerry, what we're doing with our charity. We are battling against individuals, regardless of your race, who are promoting all of this false information. You are scaring people for no reason, and they are pulling the alarm. They are doing this with joy. and it's causing a panic and it's actually causing damage. But this is what they want to do. So, we can go back and forth if you want on that, Jerry. I have a little more to
Well,
say.
I'm actually glad that you said that because I myself have noticed on Facebook that there's just a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of inaccurate misinformation and just things like you said that would panic people. Even the supposed legitimate media stirs up people in a panic. And the thing that I noticed now, the coronavirus, it is serious. It is very serious. I'm not undermining that in any way, shape, or form. However, I have noticed that the media is tending to put out more about the deaths and not the people that got tested and tested negative. They're putting out more of the ones that tested positive and the deaths, more of the negatives. So I think it's like 5 times the people that were tested negative than actually tested positive. But I did notice that, and I myself have got a couple of things in my Facebook page from people that when you fact check it, it's just completely inaccurate, and like you said, it just scares people.
Right. So, like, for an example, right now in Philadelphia, it's 5:40. So if you're here on the East Coast, everywhere on the East Coast is 5:40. But imagine being on the West Coast and someone putting out this false information. It's 5:40. We know that it's a 3-hour difference. And let's even take this further. Now, in other countries, the time frame or the changing of the time actually alternates. So sometimes in other countries, it's the same time as it here in the United States, and sometimes it's not. So again, the right information, the factual information is so important. But if you're purposely just enjoying yourself, just causing alarms and just saying all kind of ridiculous things, then you can cause a lot of damage. A person can actually really stress out. And some person can stress out to the point that they do have heart attacks because of fear and nerves, or they pass out. Again, imagine someone thinking that they missed their flight. This is like really critical, and especially now when people are trying to get back to where they came from, and people are trying to go forward to get to other loved ones. Just a simple thing as a false alarm is really damaging. Now, we most of us know this, but it's just important to say this again, because to practice an alarm, that's okay. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to practice the alarm so that when something really happens, then you give the alarm and everybody knows what to do. The problem with this is, and especially in the black community, it's unfortunate, and I hope that a lot of the black community, whether in the big city or the urban community, I hope you're starting to listen or pay attention to the Jerry Wilson show, because you are the ones who really, really need to pay attention and to really help and actually start battling the other black people as if they are viruses. Because basically, that's just what they're doing. They are invading, and they're just really causing all this, mental anguish on people. They're giving out false information, and then they're just sitting back and laughing about the whole thing, and it's nonstop. Meanwhile, you can have a person who needs to get to a certain location. For an example, you have a person who needs to get to work, and the type of work that person might do, others depend on that work in order for them to function. So it's just like the food chain, the mental food chain, especially in the black community. That is how success works. It goes into a circle. One part circles around, helps the other, and it comes back, and it just keeps going, the chain. But here, imagine someone who is black that comes along and just pops the chain just to sit back and be curious to see what happens. This is people who are so used to doing this their whole life. And don't be surprised that, of course, since we're talking about Facebook, we know the majority of people are people who are well up in age. So this is not young people that's doing this nonsense. What do you think, Jerry?
Oh, excuse me. I was actually looking at something on the board.
Okay.
But yeah, but yeah, like you said, people really need to pay attention. And like that's the reason why I'm where I am right now. That's the reason why I'm in the house to actually try to protect myself. Because originally I was one of the ones that were like, maybe this isn't too serious or whatever. But I see it's getting there.
Right. Well, okay. So let's go back and help people how to pay attention. We already know the important things to do. And please don't get so sick of hearing it. Wash your hands. Just because now it's so important to be said, wash your hands. It's not a prejudice statement. It's not an insult to anybody. So, like I said, and especially in the black community, you have people who just try to look for the negative. Oh, that's being prejudiced. You're saying that black people don't wash hands, whatever. That's not what this is about. What this is about is that you need to just be a little more mindful, because most of us are normally active in using all the hygiene techniques that we can anyway. But every once in a while, you might touch your face, wipe across, your brow if you're sweating. We've seen some people who are using gloves and they're still not using it properly. So they're trying to avoid touching germs. And then when they take their gloves off, they stick their gloves in their mouth. Now that's not funny. And that's not a reason to bash or look down on somebody because they're doing that. It's probably that, there you go, they just forgot, just that quick.
Well, this is what I had seen the other day. The last time when we did our show on Tuesday, when I was driving to the studio, I actually seen a woman, right? She had on, and I posted about this on Facebook. She actually had on the gloves, had on the mask, and she actually had her shirt on that said, "Stay away from me." But she pulled her mask down and proceeded to smoke and drink a beer. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
I'm not kidding about this. And then today, on the way back, I just came back from my regular job, and on the way back, I see people in the street here in this area, and they're not wearing anything, and they're in large crowds. They're on dirt bikes, ATVs. You would think if you walk in this particular neighborhood around Greenway Avenue that nothing exists.
Okay.
No, I'm just noticing that. So, what's your opinion about that?
Well, again, we're going to keep talking about this over and over.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just continues,
Right, and it's going to. But okay, so here's the humane thing is to really understand people. One, for the longest, the government has been dishonest. So we have to look at both sides. The government has said this, the government has said that, and they've done things factually that were just lies, and they've experimented on people and so forth and so on. So this history does get around. So you have certain people that finally hear that. Instead of them, again, like I said, picking up the other part, that there is a time to practice an alarm. So if it is a time when the government is just putting out false information, there's a time to practice to be prepared for that. But when it's not false, that's the problem. Then people are so negative. They go to the extreme that they can't even, open their mind and say, well, wait a minute, why can't I do both? So right now, that's what I appreciate what you said, Jerry. You even at first, I was skeptical, but that's natural. That's natural. But see, we're talking about people who are just so conceited, who are just so self-centered, who are just so many other things, that fall into the wrong category, that regardless of what you say, they're always looking for that. And it's like a celebration to do the wrong thing. You just have people like that. So if somebody's riding around the ATM still, they're just doing all this stuff, or going against the grain, then of course, now with this even more threatening to other people's lives, that's not going to change them.
Well,
That's the way I see it.
well, you know what really opened my eyes was to have my to have my primary care doctor call me because to make sure that basically, for lack of a better word, to make sure I wasn't in the hospital or dead. So, because I'm in the categories for what they call risk factors, that whereas if I contracted this coronavirus, I may not make it through because of an underlying condition. So they actually called me, and that kind of brought the whole point home to me. Like, dude, this is serious. You need to take this serious. This is your life.
Exactly, exactly. And you're not the only one. You'd be surprised that 99% of working people are working with some kind of pre-existing health issue. So if you're working, that means you're trying to take care of yourself the best that you can. But again, see, this is why we are fighting against people who are putting out negative information, because they will try to take that out of your thoughts. They'll just want you to believe that all the people who are sick is because they don't care about themselves. So they're doing this, they're doing drugs, they're doing all this stuff, and that's why the COVID-19 virus is hitting these people, and that's not true. Having asthma, what's so negative about that? You'd be surprised that most of the people who talk about anything, they are pretty dumb, and that's the truth. And most people who are dumb, they talk the most, because they do that because they don't want you to figure out that they're dumb. But if you ask them about asthma, they can't even tell you what that is. They can't even tell you that a child who has asthma can have an attack, and die. They can't explain that to you because, one, they're dumb, and two, they're not even interested. That's the other thing. As long as it doesn't affect them or somebody that they know, well, they don't want to hear it. But asthma is serious.
Oh, of course. I know. I know my brother. He has asthma, and when we were little, he would have to go to the hospital a lot for his asthma. Unfortunately, he outgrew it, but that's just kind of scary. When you see somebody sitting there gasping for air, and like you said, a lot of people don't understand it.
Right, and the other thing is, so the reason why, one of the reasons why, it's so critical to pull the alarm for people that have asthma is because if you are having an asthma attack, it's hard or almost impossible to tell the difference with a person who's dealing with the COVID-19. Because with the COVID-19, you lose your breath. These symptoms seem like they're the same, but you don't know. And the difference is with asthma, some people with asthma, they can actually delay going to the hospital for maybe weeks. Some can because they figured how to adjust their own body. People don't believe that's possible, but it is possible where people can adjust their own body to get control of their own body based on incidents, that's happening internally. But with the COVID-19, if it really got you and you're one of those people that everything else is being taken over, then you could be gone in 5 days. 5 days.
Uh huh.
So that's why people with these pre-existing conditions, it's so important for them to take all of this seriously. But here's the good news. Again, you can avoid it by avoiding people. So social distancing. The word is being repeated, but that's the word they're using. Social distancing. They want to call it physical distancing instead of social. But really, what difference does it make? As long as the point gets across that you don't go into large crowds. And every person that I meet that I have not seen in a while, I tell them right away, as soon as they see me, no touching. I tell them that, because I could be sick and they could be sick. So again, you have to really practice that. You see others are not taking that seriously. So they're like, they'll run up to you and grab you anyway. When you say, don't touch me, because they think it's a joke. And it's not.
Either that, or they might just be so used to doing that. They might just be so used to shaking hands. Which, by the way, I've always found handshaking completely disgusting. I've never got that. And some people are used to handshaking. Some people are used to hugging. Some people are even used to coming up to you, kissing you. If you go to other places like France and all that, or Italy, they actually kiss you. I'm pretty sure they're not doing that now, but, in certain cultures, so I guess it's an adjustment for a lot of people.
Right. Well, the kissing, there's a big thing with it now. It's part of a mystique. It's part of something that is very precious, according to some people's culture. So, it's more serious than a person becoming a part of a religious organization. For example, some people get baptized. That's very serious to them. Just the whole thing of kissing and greeting properly is just as serious to them. And that's why we had to be careful. The other thing is, which brings back to why we're pushing our campaign to fight against the negative people. You have this big prejudice. I'm not going to use the word racist. I'm going to use the word prejudice against Chinese people because, it's been said the Chinese virus. It's not right. It's not fair, but they say it anyway. And so you have all these people who are blaming anyone Chinese for this virus.
Okay. So we're about to wrap up, but so we're going to have a new show. Talk Live with Van Stone, hopefully Tuesday evening, same time that we did last week. And is there anything that the people could look forward to for Tuesday's show?
Well, just regular. We'll try to be real. We'll try to give you an update, what we can. We'll try to just jump in and talk about what's happening, especially in the big city, Philadelphia, or the states. Pennsylvania, California, Washington. Our show is about who we are. And that's why we have our team, and we just start talking, and hopefully we get more conversation, and it'll be something that somebody appreciate. That's it.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank Mr. Van Stone for joining me tonight, and we're about to go. But remember, Talk Live with Van Stone airs Tuesdays, hopefully 7 o'clock. Keep tuned to the Facebook pages for both Van Stone and myself for exact times. And we'll be doing these because this is a real show. I like to keep it real. Unfortunately, I am going to be in one of those majority of people that were laid off. So you'll be seeing a lot more media being done from our organization going out over the coming weeks. And I don't want to say months, hopefully not months, but, we'll be here. We'll be here with you, and we'll be putting out new stuff. So I'd like to, again, thank Van for joining us, and we're going to get off. So anyway, let's get back to what you were listening to right here on Philly Funk Radio, broadcasting live and local from the beautiful city of Philadelphia, PA.
All right. See you guys later.